नमस्ते दोस्तों, मैं सौरभ दुग्गल आप सबका स्वागत करता हूं स्पोर्ट्स गांव में। आई वेलकम यू ऑल इन स्पोर्ट्स गांव। आज हम कलकत्ता में हैं और आपको मिलवाएंगे एक फॉर्मर ब्रिटिश डिप्लोमेट से जिन्होंने अपना करियर छोड़ा एक मिशन के लिए, और वो मिशन था अंडर प्रिविलेज सेक्शन के बच्चों को, डिसएडवांटेज ग्रुप से जो बच्चे हैं उन्हें एक अच्छी ज़िंदगी देना। और उन्होंने रास्ता चुना रग्बी का। रग्बी के ज़रिए कैसे जो बच्चे एक बहुत नॉर्मल परिवार से आते हैं उन्हें अच्छी ज़िंदगी दी जाए, ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग लाइफ थ्रू रग्बी। सो ही स्टार्टेड एन इनिशिएटिव खेलो रग्बी एंड ऑल्सो अ रग्बी क्लब जंगल क्रो। Paul Walsh, welcome you to Sports Gaon.
Thank you very much, thank you.
You were a British diplomat in Kolkata. So how this transformation, how you decided to leave your job?
Well, a long story, but and sometimes I'm not sure how it happened either. It's in the past now, but I came to Calcutta as a British diplomat. I was living here, enjoying life, and discovered that rugby was being played. I didn't really know before I came to Calcutta. I didn't know how sports mad Calcutta was. It's this incredible sporting city with football, cricket obviously, but every sport you can imagine is played here, and discovered that rugby was played, and it's where...
It's in which year you came?
So this would be, I came to live in Calcutta about 2013, I think now.
Okay.
Yeah, and after about a year, 18 months of living here, myself and some friends, we thought, let's get involved in the rugby in the city. We were all rugby fans, though none of us had played rugby for a long time. But we thought we'd like to get involved. It looked like a really nice community, really good group of, at that time, just boys that were playing. So we taught the drivers, the guards, colleagues in the British Deputy High Commission to play rugby, and we got involved in the rugby scene in the city.
At that time you opened a Jungle Pro Rugby Club.
Yeah, we came up with this name. It's kind of a bit of a joke in a way. It was, if you go around the world, teams are called hurricanes and tigers and lions and rhinos, and we thought, we're living in Calcutta, what's the animal that does the best here? What's the animal that thrives in the city? And it's a crow, of course, and give it a little bit of a spin with the jungle crows.
So it started with Jungle Crow, and at that time you were a diplomat working with the British Deputy High Commission.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my full-time job. And then I started sloping off a bit more early on some days to practice. And what was great was that not long after we started playing and practicing on the Maidan, not far from our office in the centre of Calcutta, more and more young people would come and join in and ask to take part, see these people playing with this odd-shaped ball and be keen to be involved.
And then how the idea came of starting a rugby initiative, Khelo Rugby?
So that was really down to one of our players, whose name is Zafar. He doesn't live in Calcutta anymore, but he had been working with a small NGO, working in one of the busties communities in Calcutta, working with youth. And he came to me one day asking how we could support those young people. So I had no real kind of strong idea, but I knew that we all knew how to play rugby, that we could teach rugby. So we said, well, why don't we at least give them a chance to play? Don't have to play contact rugby, but we can coach them in a safe way in their community, so they don't need to travel, and give them something fun each week to look forward to.
So basically you started rugby to support the kids from the basti, and it was a weekend sort of rugby, and you used to give them an incentive of like a snacks or something.
Yeah, so it was really just to go into that community, bring the kids together, call the different kids together, and give them that chance to do something in an organised way. I mean, if you go into the busties, everybody's running around, dashing about, but there isn't much kind of organised games. So it was nice to be able to give them something organised, and from there, the kind of idea of Khelo Rugby grew. We added more things on, seeing a child was potentially going to drop out of school, how could we help that youngster? Seeing that somebody was trying to find a job, how could we help that young person? So it was all these things came about from getting to know the communities, becoming trusted by the communities, and then you can do much more for those young people.
So when you gave this initiative a name of Khelo Rugby, in which year?
I suppose now it would be quite a while ago now. It would have been probably the first time we used that name was in 2010 when brought some kids together as part of the Commonwealth Games.
And then one day you decided to take a leave from your job to try your hand with your initiative.
Yeah, I didn't plan to kind of leave forever. It was that the Foreign Office was offering this scheme where I could take a break from my career for 2 or 3 years, then go back to it with different experiences. So I took that option.
And then again came back.
And then I never went back.
Okay.
So then I 2 years became 3 years, 3 years became 4 years, and before I knew it, I was doing this for 10 years, and there's no chance of either me wanting to go back to the diplomatic service or really probably them wanting me back. I think by that time my habits and my outlook on life had changed a lot.
So what was the reaction of your family when they came to know that you have left your job, you have resigned?
So my family, as you can imagine, they're like families everywhere. My mum was very worried, very anxious about this kind of choice that I'd made that was completely without she didn't understand it. I didn't really understand it in some ways. So she was like a bit upset at first, but slowly, that my family have understood that it's a real passion that I've got, that it's something that keeps me really motivated, can make me very frustrated and get a bit crazy at times, but it's something I love doing.
And what the problems you faced while teaching the kids from the Basti, from the underprivileged section, and how you tackled them?
So I suppose the thing that keeps me going more than anything is when you see a young person kind of take on the determination to change themselves, to make something better for themselves. So that motivates me to overcome any kind of challenges that are out there, really. And there's challenges with bureaucracy, there's challenges with how people perceive these children. I mean, there's all sorts of different things that can get in your way, but I think that one thing that really keeps everybody going, and this you're interviewing me now, but there's a whole team of young people behind it, is just that kind of passion for rugby. We love the game, we're absolutely crazy about it, so that gives us amazing motivation.
So when you started the Khelo Rugby in 2010, at that time, do you have any idea that through rugby you are going to change the life of people, transforming the young lives?
No, and I think even now I'm surprised by the impact that we have, and it's kind of crazy when I look back and think of all the different youngsters that have come through, and some, not everybody kind of takes that opportunity, so it's not always kind of a happy thing. That you sometimes see a youngster that kind of doesn't find their way to a good future, good life. But it is the transformation that, I don't make that. I mean, it's important to say, I think, that it's not me that makes that transformation. It's not even the game. Those are things that motivate a young person, but they have to find the drive, the ambition within themselves.
And like now you have a huge network in Kolkata. You have your young leaders imparting training in 25 to 30 communities in Bastis. So how? So it's you have a huge family, and you have a center in Swastipur, then one in Jharkhand, one in Karnataka. So do you face any problem? It's a fund related problems. How you manage the fund?
Yeah, that's always a challenge, and it's been more of a challenge during the COVID times, because obviously people's priority is to ensure families have food on the table, that people who have lost jobs can afford to live. So it's a challenge keeping it all together, but we try to keep our costs as kind of tight as we can, as low as we can. We don't have, it's not that we spend most of the money on, we spend a lot of money on rugby balls, but really we try to keep our overheads as kind of close as we can, so that we can offer a supporter something that's very direct and connected with the kids, and that B, the costs aren't sort of escalating out of control.
And you also started No School, No Rugby. So what was, it's basically like to bring the kids to school, because education is as important as the sports.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about how much we love rugby, but even more important for a youngster is their school. It is to achieve what they can, and really that's one of the things that we first started with Khelo, was giving people small scholarships so that made a difference between them staying in school and perhaps dropping out of school. And you know, I've seen youngsters in class 7, 8, and the temptation is very much there, family pressure, to drop out of school, to find some small job. So it's really important that Khelo encourages young people to stay in school, achieve what they can.
Or maybe employment at young age is also one of the reasons for increasing dropout in the bastis or in the slum areas.
Yeah, there's all sorts of pressures. COVID has kind of made those pressures even greater. That, you know, families have lost jobs, incomes have gone down. So the pressure on a young person to, you know, not think of their studies, but to think of earning some small amount of money just to keep the family kind of going is very great. So we try and work with those youngsters, give them those different options so they perhaps can do an open school, they can perhaps earn some small amount of money, but to make sure that they understand that going to school and passing their class 10 exams, if they've got that chance, passing their class 12, and even better, you know, we have a number of children who it's the first time somebody in their family has perhaps passed class 12 or gone on to do college.
And you have also running a rugby initiative through your Khelo Rugby in Saraswatipur. It's a 600 kilometers from Kolkata. It's between one side there's a jungle, one side there's a river. So how that came to your mind, or like how you reached Saraswatipur?
Well, we reached there through a very good friend, Father George Matthew, who was in at that time. How I met him was he was in charge of the Don Bosco Ashalyam home, which is in Calcutta. So we had lots of interaction with him. Loads of his children played rugby. He was really encouraging of rugby. Then he went to run the Silesian College in Siliguri, and one day he called up and said, "Oh, there's this great village that I'm going to visiting. Why don't you come and teach those children rugby?"
In Saraswatipur.
In Saraswatipur. So before you knew it, some of the boys went up, met those children, and now there's, I think, 11 of the girls from that village, those small villages, have played rugby for India. And
recently two were part of the under 18.
Yes, exactly.
Team that won a silver medal in the Asian Championship.
Exactly. So it's an amazing place, and it just shows you the talent that is available. It's a very special village to me. But, you know, it's not such a special village. It's a village in India that has this incredible talent in it. And, of course, that's replicated across this beautiful country.
And after Saraswatipur, you have that center in Karnataka and Jharkhand. So how that all started?
So we started Bangalore, because actually Zafar, who started the Khelo Rugby in Calcutta, he moved to Bangalore. And although he had a busy job, was working, he also thought, well, let's give something back to these kids. There's kids around where I'm staying. How about if we can work with them and give them a chance? And then we made the connection with Decathlon, who have sort of started their life in Bangalore. And so now we have a really strong connection with Decathlon, with Bangalore. And again in Jharkhand, it was an organisation approached us and said, look, we've seen what you're doing. We really like the model of taking sport into a community and then developing opportunities for young people that get passionate about that sport. So we connected with Terres des Hommes, an international NGO, and we now manage and run a little program in very rural Haripur in Jharkhand.
And many of your trainees are pursuing sports management, hotel management. So this is another vertical in Khelo Rugby.
Yeah, so it's about giving, you know, it's a young person who perhaps wouldn't have a chance to go to college. so family couldn't afford it, don't have the means to go to college, and saying to that youngster, if you want the chance and you work hard, then we'll give you a scholarship to achieve that. In a way, that's where our funds are probably most constrained, is that although we get very good scholarships from the colleges, there's still fees to be paid, and that's we could have double the number of young people in college.
And Paul, you are able to transform life through rugby. So, like, which type of satisfaction, like how you feel being part of this initiative?
So I think I think the transformation comes from the young person. I think that's really important. I think I get that motivation, that buzz from seeing that youngster discover themselves and see where they want to have that ambition to get them. Whether that's playing for India, whether that's getting a degree, whether that's having a stable family and a good life. When you see a youngster understand the things they have to do to achieve those goals, then that's the satisfaction for me.
In last 6-7 years, so I think there is no Indian team in men and women section in all the age groups when there is no player from the Khelo Rugby. So like every time there's a player from the Khelo Rugby.
Yeah, we generally get 1 or 2 youngsters into the teams. The girls of, women's rugby in India has become this amazingly successful thing. It's achieved enormously. So that's really satisfying to have seen that journey and been in that journey really from the very start. Our Jungle Crows team played in the very first women's tournament in Bombay. And yeah, just kind of the competition is getting tougher because more and more people are discovering rugby, which is great. But it's playing for your country is an amazing thing. Huh? I mean, I'd never have had that chance. I've no athlete, but I just think that must be for a young person one of the most exciting things that they can experience, to pull on the national jersey and run out for your country. Must be incredible.
We wish you a good luck for your Khelo Rugby and hope that it will become bigger and bigger in the coming days. And thank you very much for giving your time to Sports Gaon.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And दोस्तों, आज हमने आपको पॉल वॉल्श से मिलवाया. इन्होंने अपना डिप्लोमेटिक करियर छोड़ा रग्बी के लिए, ताकि जो बच्चे एक बहुत नॉर्मल परिवार से आते हैं, अंडर प्रिविलेज सेक्शन से हैं, डिसएडवांटेज ग्रुप से हैं, उनको भी एक अच्छी ज़िंदगी मिल सके. और ये सब वो उन्होंने किया रग्बी की वजह से. उनका खेलो रग्बी इनिशिएटिव इसी तरह आगे बढ़ता रहे. और जो भी हमारे दोस्त हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं जिन्होंने हमें सब्सक्राइब नहीं करा है, तो ज़रूर सब्सक्राइब करें और नोटिफिकेशन ऑन करना बिल्कुल ना भूलें कि कहीं कोई कहानी आप लोगों से मिस ना हो जाए. थैंक यू वेरी मच.